All right, back here on the Rich Eisen Show on the Roku channel and right here through the Roku portal on Netflix. You can catch Resurrected Rides, available for streaming right now exclusively on Netflix, hosted by this man, Chris Redd, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Chris. How are you?
Hey, man, good to be here. Good. Thank y'all for the golf clap. Thank y'all.
Oh,
That's nice.
Yeah, it's very pleasant.
It was very pleasant.
So what led you to want to do this show?
Well, I mean, I love cars.
Yeah.
I'm a car guy in a way that I can't fix it, but I like to look at them and be like, I like that.
Yes.
And I love Pimp My Ride. I thought it was fun. You know what I mean? So I was like, yo, I would love to do a show like that, as long as the things that we fix about the cars are actually fundamentally usable, so that after the show, there's no lawsuits, because I ain't got the money for all that.
So again, the car that we just saw was a 1990 Ford sort of
a Mustang.
A Mustang.
It was super dope. I mean, it was dope as it was. Like she kept it in great condition. It was in this garage, and it was under a tarp, and you could tell that she's like, "Don't touch that. That's for my grandson." But the way we had it, what we turned it into, was even doper than that.
Because again, there's the, as you called it, a kangaroo pouch on the driver's side door. There were no cup holders and
no cup holders. She just balancing.
And the brake, the emergency brake that you in the middle of the car that you pull up. Right,
like you got to pull up real hard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I'm like, man, you can't have a kid driving that. You know, they can't multitask as it is unless it's on Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's definitely no place to plug in your phone in that car.
No, or I have a phone. To be very honest with you, you know. But now I think there's a lot of places you can plug a phone in, and I hope Carter is somewhere just filling up his car with as many ladies to study with as possible.
Nice. And so that's what you do, is you take care mostly of the interiors, or there's some other cars that you do the exterior too?
No, we fix everything that needs fixing. So we handle the engine, we handle like the brakes, we handle the outside and the inside, all of it. Just what we show on the show is the fun stuff. We don't show you the boring things like the engine, but the engines are, because there are some people who are very diehard Pimp My Ride fans who are like, did you work on the engine though, bro? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, not me, but yes, they did. A man worked on it. I didn't work on anything. I've gotten so many submissions from people wanting me to fix their cars, and hey, just keep watching the show.
Yeah.
Get us a season 2, and somebody will fix your car. Well, because I can't do it.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that if you show up, you know that someone will know that their car's about to get fixed.
Yeah, if I show up, somebody in my camp's gonna hook you up.
That's
you
right.
Know what I mean?
You've got people.
Yeah.
Just seeing that car reminded me of the car I passed my driver's test in.
Really?
Yeah, in the '80s. Yeah, because I'm a little older.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
so what was the hair like? What was the hair like, Rich?
The hair?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's just like if you watch Pretty in Pink. You know what I mean? Like that sort of ducky, sort of flock of seagulls type thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm really aging myself with every single pop culture reference out of my mouth right now.
That's a lot of animals to reference when talking about hair. That's crazy.
That's right. I had a Pontiac sedan, like an LE is what I think it was called, and it had that emergency brake in the middle. It had
the big one, the big draping one, right?
Exactly, the draping one. I think it had an 8-track sort of tape deck in that thing.
Oh yeah. You was
that ride back. Could be resurrected somewhere right now.
Yeah, man. Where is it now? Is it
I have
dead?
no idea.
Is it dead?
It is definitely way gone.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Chris, would you say the stuff in this is more realistic than the original? Because I worked on Pimp My Ride back in the day.
You did?
Yeah, and they put stuff like a CAT scan machine went into one car, and like a chocolate fondue sundae. Yeah, they put a chandelier, a hot tub, stuff like that.
I remember
in these cars.
That was
flame-throwing tailpipe was in a car. Like
that was a part of my contract. I didn't want to put nothing too ridiculous. Like I was like, I don't want to put like fish tanks in people's cars. That's bad for the fish community, and it's bad.
A terrarium.
You know what I mean? That's crazy.
It's bad for the human community.
It's bad for every community, to be very honest with you. No, but I wanted them to be more reasonable. Now I did put a pizza shooter on somebody's van because they wanted a van that looked like the Ninja Turtle van. But you can take that on. It's very removable and it is useless, and we do know that going in. But as far as everything else, we wanted to make sure that the cars would be helpful in everybody's daily life. Because that was like a big part of the show, is just helping people who can't help themselves in that way. You know.
So did you personally install the fondue machine?
No, I worked post production on it, so I was producing a DVD.
So you was just dipping in the chocolate. You had nothing to do with
Yes. I really didn't have anything to do with the bill.
That's the post. That's the post production. Again, check out Resurrected Rides on Netflix, available on Roku right now, starring this man Chris Redd. You also got your comedy special, Why Am I Like This, on Max right now.
Yeah, man.
What is that? Does that question have an answer to it? Why am I like this?
No, I'm still searching, but
Yes.
it's a dive into like kind of my psyche. I was later in life when I was kind of when I went to therapy, and so I kind of found out that I have like anxiety and depression and ADHD, and the whole special is very ADHD and how I bounce around it.
Yeah.
But it's a look into my mind a little bit and kind of where I've come from, and I'm super proud of it, man.
How'd you get into comedy?
Failed at everything else.
Good answer.
That is very much it. Comedy's always been something that I look to help me be funnier in my everyday life. So I would like study different albums and just to be fun, because I had the social anxiety in school. So
whose albums you study?
Oh man, Richard Pryor, Carlin.
So old school.
Yeah. My dad was really into comedy albums, so he had a bunch of them laying around the house.
Like on vinyl, like the real thing?
No, I don't. He might have a couple on vinyl, but I got the CDs. You know, so I had the CDs, and I would listen to them until they skipped too much.
Skipped, yeah.
I also read, I was also read like if you go to sleep listening to something, then you'll wake up and kind of be in your psyche. So I was like, if I listen to these comedy albums, I'll be funnier by morning, and so like that was like I always looked at comedy as a way to break the tension socially. And then when rap wasn't working out, and I was kind of looking at myself like, what other thing am I interested in doing? Because school wasn't really like that path wasn't really like interesting to me. I was like, well, I'm kind of funny. Maybe I should dive into that and kind of see like if there's any legs to a future in that. And so I went to Second City and I started an improv class, and then I started stand up shortly after that, and the rest is history.
So how did Saturday Night Live give you a call, or how did you wind up on their radar screen?
I had done a few projects. I had worked with like Andy Samberg. I had worked with Tina Fey on this project with Fortune Feimster. The show didn't get picked up, but I was starting to make my name around some folks who had been on the show, and so I guess they had floated my name. And then when I was on tour, I was just randomly on tour in between gigs in LA, and I got a call that they wanted me to come audition. And the time I got the first call, I was with Jay Farrell in Louisiana doing a show with him. I was opening up for him. He had nothing to do with it, but it was just absolutely nothing to do with it. But it was like a cool thing to be like, yo, SNL just called. It's weird telling somebody their old job just called you. But he was super cool about it, and then I went and did it. Didn't get it that year, but then I went and got it the second year.
So then you're auditioning a second time is what got you the green light.
That's what got me. I think it was because I acted like I didn't care because I was mad I didn't get it the first time.
Okay.
And so I was like, life goes on. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm going to do this, but I don't even need it. And then they called me like, do you want it? I'm like, yes.
What was on your audition? What that you think crushed it? What was it?
They at the time I wasn't really big on doing impressions. Like I like doing original characters. So I had some characters that were already in my stand-up act that I was doing. But then I threw in some impressions. So it was like the second time I think I did a very meta impression of Obama doing an impression of Obama. It was some very meta, like, I don't think that's what got me the job. I think everything else I did there did. But I did Obama, and I did some crackhead that I knew. And then,
by the way, I don't think that's ever been said in the same sentence.
I think they said that in my audition. I mean, I was just talking about that at the time. I was like, I'm gonna do everything that I'm doing on the road. I'm gonna just do a truncated version of that. And so, it was just, and then some other characters that I was doing at the time. Like I just threw in that audition.
Who hosted the first show you were on as a cast member?
Just talked about this. It was Ryan Gosling and Jay-Z was musical guests.
Wow.
Yeah, so that blew my mind, bro. Beyonce was there. It was crazy, son. I was like, I love you, Beyonce. Not in that way, Jay. And then and they laughed, and I was like, thank God. And right. And they were sitting with Swiss Beats and Alicia. It was out at the after party. It was like the best way to just kick off the SNL career. It was just like very, very, very cool.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling just got nominated for his most recent hosting version on SNL.
Oh, Ryan's dope, man. He's so good at that job. And he just understands what it is. He goes there and knows he has to commit to things.
Yeah.
Like, submit to the process and kind of just know what kind of fun you're trying to have. Man.
What's your favorite skit that you pitched or wrote or had something to do with that made it on the air and you're
one of my favorite things I had ever pitched was Jameson Bond. It was James Bond who can't hold his liquor. It never got to air. Well, it got to we did a live version of it, which should have been taped, but I was new and I didn't know how to navigate it. But we did a live version of it. It didn't work because it was like an action scene. Yeah. It's hard to do like a live action scene, but it was really fun. And I was like, maybe one day I'll do a Jameson Bond somewhere. But it was super cool to just act drunk
as a spy.
As a spy, you know what I mean? Just telling on yourself because you're faded. So
you're blowing your own cover.
I'm a spy. Who are you? Just are you drunk, Jameson? You're drunk. It was very fun. And with the one that got on that I always would like, and I'm surprised got on was That's the Game. It was a thing I wrote with Streeter and Mikey Day. Yeah. And it was about a drug dealer that's trying to take over the drug game from his OG, but he doesn't understand how to do it. Mm-hmm. So he's like, it's a takeover. But like, so if you were trying to pick up product, where would you pick it up from? So it's like very clear he has no idea what to do outside of take the game.
Yes.
And I was surprised that they put something like that on TV, but they did. And it was awesome. It was very funny, and I'm really proud of it.
So you were on Chris Fred here on the Rich Eisen Show. You were there. Barkley hosted while you were there. Did that happen while you were there?
Oh yeah. Charles hosted. I love Charles, man. He's the best. I did a commercial with him once for FanDuel, and they were like, they were like, you. And I was supposed to play like a little voice on his shoulder. Uh-huh. Everybody thought I was doing an impression of him, and it wasn't a good one. And so they got so mad. The people, they were like, he doesn't sound like him. And it was just a very fun experience. I don't know why I just shared that story.
I'm trying to pick up where you're going with that one.
Middle of the way through, I'm like, what are you talking, Chris? You know what? This is so comfortable. I just like, let me just tell Rich stuff.
I like when you tell stuff. That's fine.
That was a very useless story. Watch Resurrected Rise.
JJ Watt, I think, hosted while you were there too.
Yes, I love JJ. I love JJ Watt. He's like, athletes are usually the best hosts.
Why do you say that?
They're always performing live all the time. Yeah. And they're always game for anything usually. And it was just so fun. That was one of my favorite sketches. Was with JJ Watt.
Which one was that?
It was one where I played this kid on the team who, it was kind of like Rudy, where I could play this kid on the team who was like not really good and too small to play. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, give him a chance. Give him a chance. And JJ's like, no, he fucking sucks. He's shit. I mean, and I did suck, but it was just like, it's supposed to be like this inspirational scene from like every football movie you've ever seen in your life. But it's like a guy who actually shouldn't be playing.
So if it's Rudy, right? In real life, and they're like, we're not putting you on the field.
We're not no, this is the championship. Are you stupid? Yeah. And JJ killed that, man. He was so good in that.
Sounds like a modern version of the famous Peyton Manning send-up of the United Way commercial, where he would throw the footballs directly at the kids' heads and just complain when they didn't catch and whatever. That was classic.
That was great.
That was TV. An absolute.
I think you should always throw football at kids' heads. No, I'm saying.
Chris Red here on the Rich Eisen Show again. Resurrected Rides streaming now exclusively on Netflix. Why Am I Like This is on Max right now. You've got upcoming show dates tomorrow in Kansas City, San Diego, California after that, and then London. You're going to London. You're playing
London.
Going to
London, yeah, and doing St. Louis on Thursday.
Okay,
St. Louis on
fantastic.
Thursday.
All right,
yeah, but going to London, man. I go to London usually about every year. And I love performing over there, bro.
Fantastic. You've got 5 dates there in London. I am chrisred.com to get tickets. Before I let you go, if you wouldn't mind indulging us here, because one of my favorite sketches that you did on SNL was the send up of First Take.
Oh yeah, man. That was one of my favorite live joints, for sure.
Because you were Stephen A.
Yeah, man.
And you've met Stephen A. before?
I met Stephen A. a bunch of times.
Okay.
I love Stephen A. I've been on his shows. We did Family Feud the same day too.
Is that right?
Family Feud. He was on with Tamara Hall. I was on with Fortune Feimster, but we had crossed paths. But I love Steve.
Had you already done Stephen A?
Yeah, had done him a bunch. I was on Stephen A's show doing Stephen A. with Stephen A. Which was
Talking about meta.
So meta. I'm like, I'm Stephen. No, I'm Stephen. You know, it was really, really fun.
So I'd like you, if you don't mind, we play the win-loss game with a bunch of fans here who are rooting for their teams. I'd love to see if you wouldn't mind doing the Dallas Cowboys win-loss game as Stephen A. Smith, how you think he would do it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Music here. Here is Chris Redd. Again, check out Resurrected Rides, available for streaming now exclusively on Netflix through the Roku portal. But that's Chris Redd. Stephen A. Smith is here right now to play the win-loss game for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Stephen A., what happens when the Cowboys open up the season in Cleveland in Week 1?
Well, here's the thing about it, Rich. The second that they open, they close. That's what Cowboys do. All right? Now, I know they have fans. But I don't know why. I don't know why. The only cowboy I like is on a horse. You understand? You get it?
So
What's the game?
So is that a loss?
It's a loss all day, okay? It's a loss. Matter of fact, I'm at a loss for words, positive ones, to say about the Cowboys.
So what happens when they play the Saints next at home?
They pray, I think. They pray to the Lord and Savior to save them. I think they lose.
Then they're home for the Ravens.
Oh, I love poetry. But as far as playing the Ravens, they'll lose, Rich. You understand? Here's the last time a Cowboy won. Can't think of it.
Next up, they're at the Giants, 0-3. Wow, this is a tough start to the season.
It's a very tough start, you know. 0-3. No one wants to go 0-3. No one will steps outside and says, "Hey, I want to lose," except the Cowboys.
So they're 0-4 at the Steelers, Stephen A. Is that what you're saying?
I think they're going to be 0-10 with the Steelers.
Okay.
If you want to be honest with your best dad ever.
So that's 0-5. Then hold on, we'll give them a loss home for the Lions. Then off the bye, their loss at San Francisco. Then a loss at the Falcons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then they lose to the Eagles and then the Texans. So they're 0-10 now.
Yes.
At the Commanders. What happens then?
Yes. You know, they'll win on a bye week. That's what they'll do.
So are you saying this is an 0-17 season for the Dallas Cowboys?
I'll give them one, but I'm not going to tell you which week.
I got to figure that out on my own?
Yeah, just like they do. They show up like winner will a win happened for us. So hey, ask Chris Redd about another useless Charles Barkley story. I bet you would love to hear that. I would love to hear that more than I would love to see a Cowboy play anything.
So Stephen A. Smith says the Dallas Cowboys go 0-17 this year.
No, he gave us a win.
Oh, pardon me, 1-16.
1-16.
1-16.
1-16. Okay, 2-16.
Wait a second.
2-16.
Win the bye week.
They win the bye week.
They play the Browns.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen A. Smith playing the win-loss game.
That was very fun.
Chris Redd.
Who was that man that was just left?
It's just fantastic. Hey, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on. You're welcome anytime that you have got something to talk about. And boy, do you have something to talk about. I am chrisred.com for upcoming show date tickets. See this man live. Why Am I Like This is on Max right now. That's a comedy special by Chris Redd, who can be seen streaming on Netflix right now, available on Roku and Resurrected Rides. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you guys.
Anytime. That's Chris Redd, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Back with more in a moment. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.